Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Academic institutions are expected to be sanctuaries of learning where students and lecturers engage in a mutually respectful pursuit of knowledge. However, the reality is often more complex. Conflicts between students and lecturers can arise from various factors, including cultural and linguistic differences, generational gaps, and of course, power imbalances. The recent incidents at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, where a lecturer and student were involved in a heated altercation, highlights the need for a nuanced understanding of the dynamics at play in academic settings. As we explore the complexities of school academic conflict, we must consider the intersection of factors that contribute to these disputes and, of course, strive to create a more inclusive and respectful learning environment. It's a beautiful episode on your favorite primetime show, Ways, What Are You Saying? And my name remains Osayua Mesale. Today we're having a conversation, just generally addressing the entire Unizik student lecturer saga. And of course, I brought in a guest that would talk to me, about, his own, based on his expertise and years of experience working with students and, educational institutions. So yeah, Taiwo Akinlami will be my guest, but he will join me much later. Remember, Ways is all about you. You are the why in Ways. So be a part of the conversation every single day. Add your voice to the discussion. You can also head on to our YouTube channel. It's at Official Upgrade TV. Hit that subscribe button. Like, share, and invite your families and friends to join the show right now. And when I open the phone lines, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And again, we have a lot of news interest today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. All right, as always, let's ponder on my quote for the day. It says, intelligence plus character, that is the true goal of education. I think it's just, sums it up nicely. So we'll delve into the conversation on Unizik and lecturer and student saga much later. First, let me run off on a break. I have a lot of news interest for you today. Stay with me. All right, thanks for staying with me. So I don't know whoever was monitoring what had happened in Canada where a Delta airline had crashed. So we saw some reports today that was reported by Business Day saying that the airline was offering $30,000 to each passengers who was on board the flight from Minneapolis that crashed and flipped upside down this week while trying to land in Toronto. All 80 passengers, 76 and 4 crew members who were on that particular flight survived after the jet made a rough landing and rolled over, ending belly up with the right wing shredded off at the Toronto Pearson International Airport on Monday. Some of the passengers, I think 21 of them, were taken to the hospital, but no one No one died, thankfully, and none had also a life-threatening incident. So Delta Airline is saying that they would pay compensation of $30,000 to each of the people on board. I'll move on to the next story. So Dangote and NNPC, this matter is not ending anytime soon. Dangote Refinery and NNPC Petroleum Company maintain their products are of high quality, as a viral video triggered discussions around the standard of the petroleum product and sold to Nigerians at filling stations. While NNPC said it has never imported substandard petrol into the country, the Dangote Refinery insisted that its premium motor spirit is Euro 5 spec. Recently, of course, the video that had surfaced, about how one of the petrol the one gotten from Dangote burnt slower and the one gotten from NNPC burnt faster. That video really sparked a lot of conversations. I even did a video yesterday. In fairness, someone had hinted me that, whenever she bought fuel from MRS, that she just noticed that with all the movement she did, she still had, a good amount of fuel in her tank, unlike when she was buying from another particular fuel station. So, I then experimented, and lo and behold, it was true, because, it had reduced the number of times I had to visit the fuel station. So whatever the situation is, all I'm asking for is, I want NNPC to be intentional about understanding that the pockets of Nigerians we need some breather. Tariffs are going high, both data, electricity tariff, petrol is high, everything is just high. So how do you expect Nigerians to survive? So I think, whatever it is that is fair would be, let us get this petrol. And I'm even appealing to Dangote. Let us see how to get the petrol even lower than what the price is. Because I believe that, we can achieve that. Let's just, let's try. And NNPC, if Dangote is selling a premium product, I don't know why we need to keep importing. All right, so CDS, that's the Chief of Defense Staff. The story that had come out around, what's it called, Canada denying them visa. So the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, again publicly condemned the decision of the Canadian Embassy to deny him and other top military officials visas to attend the Invictus game in the North American country. Speaking in Abuja at the defense headquarters, Musa described the situation as deeply disrespectful, demanding a probe. He said, contrary to the insinuation, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the National Security advisors were carried along in the visa process, right? And the defense chief had, of course, they had a median annual lecture of the National Association of the Institute for Security Studies in Abuja. He revealed that he and others were denied visas at that in Canada. I would still go back to what I said when this story broke. I would say that before a country denies you visa, they don't just deny, and not even at that high level, right? They don't just deny visa. So I would say that it will still be good for us to just, because I've heard so many people saying, it's disrespectful, is this, is that. The truth is, when it comes to issues around visas, even people within the embassy, they will tell you that it is at the discretion of the issuing officer. And most of the time, if the documentations and all of those things, there's just something. So I would rather that instead of having this media conversation, why don't the Chief of Defense Staff write officially to the Canadian Embassy? What were the reasons? Let them state it. They will write back to you. I think that is how we do it. Even me, I'm a nobody. I write to embassies and they reply why visas are denied. So I think it's best to just, so that we have clarity on what would have caused that particular incident. Then I want to quickly touch on, because, we've been touching on, local governments for a bit. I just wanted to mention this, that the Central Bank of Nigeria has commenced profiling the chairman and signatories to bank accounts of the 774 local government areas in the country as part of process to commence local government autonomy. The Director of Legal Services at the CBN, Kofo Salam Alada, explained that this was necessary to ensure financial accountability. However, the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria said it had received no communication from the Apex Bank concerning the opening of the bank account. Salam Alada spoke at a State of the Nation discourse on strengthening local autonomy in Nigeria, organized by Nigerian Bar Association in Abuja. He said this yesterday. I don't know. Local government chairman said they've had no communique, but he says they have started the process. I just really, really want to pray that this local government financial autonomy, right, will not pose a bigger problem. Because now, I don't know, I just somehow feel like, you know, when it comes to the elections, because I know how critical the local government, their role is during elections, I don't know how this financial autonomy is going to play out. But let's just watch as we go on. All right, so I'll take another story before I take our final story. The U.S. ambassador, remember we talked about financing, what's the word now? Terrorism financing in Nigeria yesterday with David Hundeyin. So the U.S. State Ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills, has said there is no evidence that the United States Agency for International Development, that's USAID, is funding Boko Haram or any terrorist group. Mills stated after meeting with Nigerian Governors Forum in Abuja yesterday night that no nation condemns Boko Haram violence strongly more than the U.S. He assured all that if any evidence is found, that the U.S. government will work with the Nigerian government to investigate it. So let us leave it there. The reason I brought the story is just to strike a balance, right? So it means that they are also talking from their end. So whilst the congressman is saying that USAID is linked to Boko Haram, this is the ambassador to Nigeria saying that no such thing. Let's keep our fingers crossed and just continue to monitor that space. So Senate President Akpabio, I think we should just watch this video so it will just help me to just ask Akpabio but one question.
Order, please.
Distinguished Chief Whip of the Senate, your point of order is sustained.
Order, please.
Nice to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, order 10 on privileges.
Asha,
Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice. A motion declaring that the content of breach of privilege has been
that allows suspension immediately.
Or refer.
Senate President Godswill Akpabio, what exactly is the real issue between you and Senator Natasha Akpoti? Because whatever she said, it carried a lot of weight. That she's choosing not to say it in public. You have to tell Nigerians what the real issue is, because I don't understand how someone that was elected on, I mean, she's not an appointee. Her people put her there, right? And is it right for him to even suspend her? I'm not a legal person, so maybe all these people that understand policies and all of that can help me out. Is it even right to suspend her? It is her people that elected her, and they put her there to represent them. And if she's making allegations about how you are shutting her down, not allowing her to represent her people appropriately, then there's a lot that should happen. I think Kogi State people need to wake up and help her fight this battle, because I don't understand what is the real issue. So it just seems like there's something more, right? And she's even mentioning it and she's not saying it. So Senate President Akpabio, I would ask you again, what exactly did Senator Natasha Akpoti do to you? Let us understand so that we can probably understand where this is coming from, because I think it's getting too messy. I'll take a break. When I come back from that break, let's discuss Unizik and, of course, lecturer-student Saga. Stay with me. All right, thanks for staying with us. Yes, we have a lot to unpack. I think for those that, I don't know if my director has those clips, for those that need refresher of what happened. There was a biting, there was a whatever, there was another video that surfaced and all of that. But that is the story of Unizik, the young girl that was making a TikTok video, and a lecturer walked past. She made a statement. He came back to her and said, you know what? Why is this happening? What are you doing? Can you delete the video? Blah, blah, blah. She went through the, the disciplinary committee in the school, and she has been officially expelled from the school, right? So while all of this is going on, nothing had happened until, again, another video then surfaced where we saw it this time, the lecturer holding onto her dress and all of that. So people are speculating that it must have been that all that eventual biting and tearing the man's dress and all of those things would have been as a result of him laying a hand on her. So it was important to talk to an expert that understands, especially when it comes to rights and all of that, child rights, even though she's not a child, she can't be considered a child, she's an adult, but it's important to have, a conversation that just gives a holistic picture so that tomorrow, if there's a lecturer and there's a student, everybody knows how to conduct themselves. We don't know whether this can still be remedied, because based on the video that surfaced, how the man held and all of that, we don't know what is going on. But let's just have a conversation and just unpack it. And I have with me Taiwo Akinlami. He's a friend of the house. Yes, thank you so much for joining me. Taiwo needs no introduction, please. Just go online and read his profile. We have a lot to discuss here. Thank you so much, Taiwo Akinlami, for joining me this evening.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be with you tonight, to have this conversation.
So, Taiwo, this conversation, I have had different, I've had different, what's the word I'm looking for? Analysis on it. My first analysis was when I saw the video that how she was attacking the lecturer. For me, I said, under no circumstance should a lady behave like that, and I still stand by that, because that shows me that it just shows that you're uncouth, right? You don't know how to present yourself in public, because there's nothing on earth. I've said this thing before. I'll say it again. I've been slapped before in public. I stood still. Because I can't see myself fighting, right, in another person. I've never done that in my life, and I don't think I would start it now. So even if you were provoked to that point, I don't think, for me, I don't think it was necessary for her to get to that extent where she was grabbing the lecturer and all of that. That was on the first video that I saw. When I saw this second video, it then reminded me, because my son, I remember that when my son was in year 11 or year 12 in school, they brought a new law, and they said to them that if you are talking to a girl and you put your hand over her shoulder, and the girl then comes to you and says that you sexually harassed her, they would try you for sexual harassment and you'll be found guilty because you put your hand over her shoulder. So what they were teaching those boys was keep your hands to yourself. So when we now saw again the fact, which I established, that the lecturer was the one that made the initial contact, right, touching the girl. So now, we now saw this video of how he then even went on to grab her dress. And of course, I'm sure that was probably what led to her trying to free herself from his grip and all of that, biting him and all of that. But what is your general moral assessment, first of all, on this particular Unizik situation with the lecturer and the student?
So I've written 3 articles since this matter happened. I'm writing another one on Sunday. And when this matter broke, the word went for this girl. And I felt it was not right. I felt that, even if she was wrong, that's before this even second video surfaced, even if she was wrong, even if she had committed murder, she's a young person. I want to believe that she will be between 18 and 25. United Nations says a young person is 14 to 25. There is a way we are to treat our young people. We are not supposed to, no matter what they have done, they should not be condemned. We should condemn the act, but rehabilitate, if need be, the person who committed the act. Even when she goes before the court, if she was charged before a court, she would have been innocent until proven guilty. Adolf Hitler slaughtered 62 million people, 2.5% of the entire population of the world. If he had not committed suicide when the Allied forces closed in on him, if he had been arrested, despite the heinous crimes he has committed, he would have been judged innocent until proven guilty. And that was my position. Number one, anybody accused of anything is innocent until proven guilty. Number two, this is a young person. Barack Obama experimented with India hemp. He's online. You see it on LinkedIn. You see it on Wikipedia. It's not secret. He experimented with it. But the difference between Barack Obama today, who later became the president of America at the age of 47, is the country in which he was growing up and the people who handled him. Why the people did not use his error to judge his effort. They used his effort to judge his error. They saw in that young person experimenting with India hemp the next a president of America. They saw a future more glorious than them damaging him, right? But in Nigeria, that's what we do. Or in Africa, or even today across the world, once somebody does something what appears to be wrong, we crucify the person. We don't give the person a second chance. And I don't think life should be like that. Now, that's the first point I was making. Now, the second point is this. When you look at that video, the first video, now let's even forget about the second video. Even if the second video never surfaced, in the first video, you can move away from somebody without pushing the person. This lecturer pushed this girl, shoved her forward. That's what he did. Now, by the law of the university, you are supposed to touch a student because you want to talk to the student? Why would you push the student in the first instance? Even if the first video never surfaced, what the lecturer did here is completely wrong. And you see the reaction of the girl. She's saying, why will he touch me? That's what the girl is talking about here. Now, before we now saw the second video that has surfaced. So I think for me, we need to interrogate that and begin to ask the critical question. Did the university see the full picture? Or did they respond to social media and the so-called public outcry to meet out so-called, what they call discipline to this young lady?
Okay, I mean, there's just a lot in this conversation. I hear you and I hear our cultural and, our cultural biases, playing out here. Because you see, this thing about shoving her, 2 grown men were in my office yesterday arguing on this matter. That is not a normal thing that when we were in school, our lecturers, you dare not, it's like, you were meant to revere older people. So even if the man is not even a lecturer, did she not see that he was older than her? So I see a lot of cultural play here. I see a lot of, patriarchal play here. I just see a lot of that happening. But, when you hear people make those kinds of arguments about how when we were growing up, our lecturers and all of that, does that not tell us that there's a bigger problem? Because it seems like people are not waking up to the reality of where we are today, how the world has evolved, how the world has changed. Or am I wrong to conclude that?
You have no right to touch anybody. This is a university community. right? He could only get away with that in Nigeria. That's the problem. He couldn't try that even in the Republic of Benin or in Ghana or in countries where they hold their higher institutions in high esteem. They know what higher institutions for what they are. It is important to note that the word university is the same word for Catholicism, universality. In that same university, you have people pursuing first degree, second degree, PhD. So if that girl now was a PhD student or a master's degree student, is that how it's going to shove the girl aside? If that girl now was a boy, a guy, hefty, broad-chested, is he going to try it? So the point is this: we have to see what is going on here. It is blatant oppression, scripted. After that oppression happened, it was now scripted as if this innocent girl, this young girl, was the one who first attacked that lecturer. Now, let's leave it there. Now, the first thing we need to note is that I went to Lagos State University. It is the law of the university. No lecturer dare raises his or her hand against a student. It's not done. He has breached the protocol of his profession. And I don't know what obtains the Unizik. If it does not obtain there, it will be wrong. I left the university in 1997. And that has been the law in Lagos State University. Lecturers cannot. You can't make physical contact for what? If a girl is standing on the road, if another graduate is standing on the road and you want to pass, you can pass without touching the girl. You can speak from afar to say, excuse me, please, I want to pass. You don't need to shove her. You don't need to touch her. That touching in itself was the first level of contact that is wrong. You know the unfortunate thing? In all the people that analyzed this thing, apart from what you said now that you mentioned it, nobody saw that was wrong. Now, number two, let's speak to the new video that has come out. You know, do you know why I keep saying the girl is innocent? I'm not validating her action. No. According to the law, she's innocent until proven guilty. She has not been charged before any court. A Unizik Senate said they have met, and within a short time, they've expelled her, right? But, you know, that is the way we do stuff in Africa. That is the way we do things in Nigeria. Now, so let's take this new video that emerged. This lecturer was seen holding on to this girl. Now, there's another voice note that the girl has said. It was when he held on to her, demanding for her phone, and she refused to make that phone available, that she had to fight for herself. There's a voice note that is circulating that she has sent out. Now, that is one. Number two, now let's assume without conceding that the lecturer asked her to bring her phone, and she refuses to bring the phone. Why should the lecturer go physical? People have matriculation number.
Yes, no, Taiwo Akinlami. So people have argued that because it's a huge university, it's not like a secondary school, that usually what lecturers used to do, I mean, that's what those two grown men were arguing, that they will hold you. They will hold you until the school security comes so that you do not run away. Because when you leave, there's no means of the person identifying you. It's not like it's a small secondary school that you can easily maybe go back to trace the person. You don't know what department the person is coming from and all of that. So that was why he held on to her. But my question was, if you needed to hold on to her, why didn't you hold her hand? Because, I mean, she's a very blessed girl. If you look at her, she has breasts, right? Why didn't you hold her hand? Why were you holding on to her dress, her chest, almost like trying to strip her naked? So for me, that then justified why she tried to also take herself off your grip to the point of even biting you.
So can I tell you, do you know why that holding of hand is wrong? What if you are dealing with a hefty person that even your one hand cannot go around his wrist? What are you going to do? That cannot be the right thing to do. There must be ways to identify people. Now, if you are in a faculty may have security people, right, who will witness that. Now, what you need to do, that is why we can't run universities as we are running a primitive organization. there should be that kind of lecturer. There should be a way, there should be a phone that you can call, a line you can call of the security in the university, describe to them where you are, for them to meet you there, and, you know, pick up this person if it is necessary, right? All you need is the identification of these students so that you can report the student to the appropriate quarters. This idea of holding people is primitive. So if you hold somebody who is bigger, if you hold somebody who has the capacity to withdraw himself from you and run away, what are you going to do? So the idea of holding people cannot be a valid argument. It can only make sense if you are dealing with a weaker vessel, like this girl now. So you can hold her. But as you said, he did not even hold her in the hand. Let's now assume, without conceding, that it is right to hold somebody in the hand. He did not hold her in the hand. It's holding her in the chest, in a private part, a part of her private part. That's where the man was holding. And this man has been eulogized, painted as a saint, as the one who, and by that I'm not saying we should condemn him. What I'm saying is that what we have seen has shown me three things. Number one, our universities are still very primitive. Number two, those who call themselves truth tellers, those who call themselves crusaders, only dance to the tune of what is popular. Now, number three, it is that this is not how to build an egalitarian society. Now, you are the only one now speaking about this issue after the fact, after we have seen the video, the second video. You are the only one. Now, this second video has not enjoyed the
amount of attention,
publicity, the same level of attention that the first one enjoyed. This girl has been condemned. Where are the human rights crusaders? Where are the women rights crusaders? Where are the people who speak for women? Where are the people who condemn domestic violence? Where are the people who condemn public violence? Where are all of them? Everybody is quiet because it is not popular to speak for this girl, because speaking for this girl is going against what is popular now. And that is why I made it a point of duty this morning. You know, you were the first person who called my attention to the second video. I was scrolling through your page yesterday, and I saw you making comments about this video. I said, oh, wow, the second video. I went to look for it. I saw it on Legit and all of that. I read it up. I discovered that, wow, there's another video. Now, if you were not making that point you were making yesterday, if you were not calling attention to the second video, maybe I would not have seen it. Now, look at it. How many people? I went to my Facebook page and noted that there's a second video. Somebody responded and said the girl should have just apologized to the lecturer and let the matter die. He said there are some dramas that are avoidable. I said, look, how do you mean she should have just apologized? Apologize for what? Now, let me tell you something. In Yoruba culture, there's a proverb that is popular. Agbalagba to so yongomadi, oti sora edojugba adie. That is, an old man that ties corn around his waist has made himself equal to chicken. If you live in a glass house, you don't throw stones. Why will you shove her in the first instance? Why will you touch her?
Okay.
So we are now blaming the lecturer is supposed to know better. Is that not so? He's a doctor, experienced lecturer. So to whom much is given, much is expected. Who are we supposed to hold to higher moral
standing
responsibility?
Okay.
Or standing?
Someone is not agreeing with you on YouTube, but you know what? Let's go we'll just go out and come back. Let's take a break. I want to open the phone line. Stay with us. All right, thanks for staying tuned. Now, if you just tuned in, we're addressing the Unizik lecturer saga, and we have with us Taiwo Akinlami. He's a friend of the house. Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also call in. You can call in 07025007749 or 070-1424-2420. Let's hear what you have to say. So, Taiwo Akinlami, somebody says, Nigerian dishes. He said, oh, God, you don't know what you are saying, Jerry. You are saying rubbish. He then goes on to say, you people will not destroy this Nigeria for us. There is nothing to justify what she did, and the man did not even do enough. Oh my goodness. This is what we are saying, about the mindset. I said two grown men. They were trying. I have already established the fact that as a woman, you are not supposed to raise your hand and fight. It's very uncouth. I don't like women that fight and be jacking people, and I don't do that. So for me, it shows that you're not cultured, right? I have established that fact. But we also need to establish the fact that it was the lecturer that made the initial contact, which you are not supposed to do. Insane clients.
I don't even agree.
Go ahead.
I don't even agree with you that somebody should not fight back. I don't agree with you.
No, I can't fight.
Your threshold is not, no, wait. Your threshold, listen. Your threshold is not from another person's threshold. You understand? It depends on the circumstance that will determine. Look at somebody holding somebody's chest. So you wanted her to wait until she's stripped naked before she would do something. She has to do something to remove
No, but
herself.
Taiwo, let me explain how this works. If somebody holds on to my chest, if I am not struggling, I am still, right? It's not going to be, the tussle will not be as rigorous as the point of looking like he was about to tear her dress. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can actually resolve issues without an altercation, like a physical altercation. So if somebody holds on to my dress, I can keep my hands to myself. Because now, guess what? If that video had come out, it would have been very clear who was in the wrong.
But let me tell you something. So, the lady is not you. She doesn't have your exposure. She hasn't seen the things you have seen in life. You are different. So by virtue of your exposure, to whom much is given, much is expected. Are you getting what I'm saying? By virtue of your own exposure, your action will have been different. So we can't compare you to that lady. Do you know what you have seen in this your life? Do you know the places you have been? Do you know the people you have dined and wined with? Do you know your level of exposure? Do you know how many countries you have been in this world? Your history is different from the girl's history.
Let me take a caller. Sorry, Taiwo Akinlami, just give me a minute. Let me take a caller. Engineer Future, I believe. Good evening, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead, please.
I am Engineer Future, a comer from Warri, Delta State.
Thank you for calling.
Just a quick one. The issue of the Unizik student and the lecturer, I think, first of all, let us put this issue aside like it didn't happen in the institutional area. Let us say, okay, maybe it happened, maybe other area, not institutional area, so to say. What is that elderly man find himself for by pushing young ladies? So many people are suffering from egocentric problems in Nigeria. Just because you are a doctor or a PhD holder. So that's an example as well. Is that girl not little enough to be his daughter at home? You are pushing the girl. She's doing her own thing. They never interrupted anyone. They are not in the class. For crying out loud, they are not able to. I mean, that. Is it because she's a female student? Okay, you are pushing someone. Does she not have a right? She was standing there before you came in. Why pushing her? And then, in addition, the simple equally watch it from your own page. Now, I was totally ashamed of the lecturer. Grabbing the young lady's dress. What a shame. By so doing, I believe his wife at home is older than this young lady. So this equally shows that he's a woman beater at home. What kind of a doctorate degree holder is that? I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Future. Thank you. Thank you. Taiwo Akinlami, let me read more comments.
Let me respond to that first comment.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So that person, in the first instance, is comment. If he were on my page, I would have just blocked him. That's what I do to such people. Because he didn't come here to reason with us. He came here to tantrums. And tantrums are known. My 3-year-old toddler is the one who throws that kind of tantrums, because they are young. He won't even speak the way this man has spoken. You can't tell somebody who doesn't know what he's saying. That in itself is insultive, and this kind of comment should not be allowed in the public domain. So I have not, people like this, they're not the one I'm speaking to. I don't think they're the kind of people I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to people who can think, who can take on what I'm saying right now and disagree with me without becoming disagreeable. When you begin to be disagreeable, I don't even think what you are saying is worth responding to.
Absolutely. Someone says, I'm with...
That's the kind of culture we are dealing with.
Someone is agreeing with the other previous commenter. It says, I'm with you. She totally overreacted, and you can tell she has very low morals. The reason I'm reading this, I want you to see the mind of the people, because this is what I'm saying. Like, two grown men were in my office yesterday arguing on this matter. The second person says it shows that she's a disrespectful person. You can tell. It says you can tell from her reaction, right? So, okay, you know what? I think I have a caller again. From Ghana. Okay, thank you for calling. Go ahead, please.
From Ghana.
Okay, go ahead quickly.
I want to also ask the program.
Go ahead.
The students have their own the master has no right to have decided to do to the extent.
Sorry. Can you try to call back? I can't make sense of what you're saying. So, Taiwo Akinlami, do you understand what I'm saying? Because now, look at it. To tell you where the minds of people are, you made a very, very valid point, which I said. Look at a second video has arisen. Nobody is blowing it out of proportion. No one is making it viral, right? Because so I was able to retract myself and hold myself back to say, okay, yes. And I'm so grateful that I made that initial statement, even without seeing this second video. When I said that if we look at that video critically, the man could have said, excuse me, without having to touch the girl. Because you can easily just say, excuse me, and the person will leave the way. That the fact that you tapped at, and that was, that you could tell her reaction in the video. It was the tapping for her that made her uncomfortable. Some women are very edgy like that. You can't touch them. They are very sensitive. You don't know what she's been through. You don't know if she's been, if she's gone through maybe molestation in the past or something. Let me take Richard from Port Harcourt. Richard, thank you for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Good evening.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay. I just listened to what you're saying, and for me, in fact, the last speaker, the engineer, what he said was...
Was what? Okay, we lost him. Taiwo, please go ahead.
So this is my point. The point I'm trying to make is this. Ultimately, when we look at all of these things, this is a reflection of how our society thinks. Majority of us cannot think. As a matter of fact, we don't think. We follow the wind wind of social media. What is popular, what is trending. From when the video came out, nothing in me condemned that girl. I did not condemn her, but because we didn't have the full picture, I felt that her action was reprehensible in the sense that, but you see, when I went back to watch the video, even the first video, right, I asked myself the correct question. Why did the lecturer shove her aside? Because it wasn't a touch, it was a push. Because if you look at that video, it shifted the girl a bit from where she was standing to another place, right? Now, it is the kind of the oppressive tendencies you find within the university system. That is the truth. Oppressive tendencies. Now, the engineer who called from Warri, Engineer Future, made a fundamental statement. If that was outside the campus, if that girl was shooting that video in Ikeja shopping mall, will anybody go and push her? If anybody pushes her, would the person not be looking for trouble? Why did the lecturer push her? The lecturer pushed her because they think they own these children. The unfortunate thing, because if that same lecturer was going in Oka, popular shopping mall, and somebody is recording video there,
He would not have done that. Sorry, Taiwo, today I think this conversation, a lot of people want to be involved in it, but we have a caller on standby. Loma, thank you for calling. Good evening.
Good evening, my dear sister.
Good evening, Loma.
I beg, greet that of that for me in the house.
Oga Taiwo, they are greeting you.
Good evening, sir.
See, let me tell us what that girl did. The reaction of that girl, to me, is not good. It was not good at all. The girl is supposed not to react that way. But going by what you are saying, if you want to pass and somebody is standing on your way, go see the man, you tap that person. Please, excuse me. When you now give that attention, if that person decides not to react to what you have asked, then you can now do what you want to do. But I want to tell the school authority, dismissing that girl is not, it's not good at all. It's not good at all. You don't have to dismiss. If they make sure, after giving her the necessary punishment, because when you give somebody punishment, you are trying to tell that person what you did was not good. And you now correct that person and move on with that person will move on with his life. Not dismissing it. So I'm using this opportunity to tell that school, please, restate that girl. Let her finish her education. And let that girl ask the lecturer to ask for forgiveness.
Absolutely.
Ask for the school forgiveness and let us die this thing. It's supposed not to be going this, like it has become a hurricane.
Thank you.
It's been resolved once and for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Loma. Taiwo, I'll let you come in to react to what Loma just said, but I want to quickly read this. It says, yes, he was wrong for touching her, but again, I still think she overreacted. Next to it says, your guest does make a good point, but again, her reaction was too much. So this is the consistent message, right?
So this is the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question. Who determines when a reaction is too much? You see, human beings, you know, something happened in the Bible. Moses intervened in the fight of two people. And they asked him one question. Who made you a judge over us? It's a fundamental question we need to be able to ask at every point in time. Because we never have enough facts to judge a person except you are part of the person's life. You see the person, so you saw 1 second video, 3 second video. Instead of you analyzing the video according to human action, you are now analyzing the personhood of the person in the video. How does that make sense? Who does that? Who does what they are doing now? That she overreacted. How do you determine when somebody overreacted or somebody did not overreact?
Okay, let me take Lizzie. Lizzie, you're live. Go ahead.
You cannot determine.
Go ahead. Taiwo, just give me a minute. Lizzie, you're live. Good evening. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, my sister.
Good evening.
Yes, we are all mothers. Watching that video, I just want to, if the lecturer can be asked a question, if somebody dragged your daughter like that, how will he feel? We all saw the video, except we want to put sentiment in this thing. The student, I don't think he did anything to warrant that insult. It's an insult to me. An insult.
Thank you.
You don't drag somebody from the chest.
Yeah.
You can say, you can go. This shows how this lecturer acts at home. I'm telling you, we just have to be sincere with each other. Instead of you to get close to her and say, please, excuse me. What you intend telling her, you can as well tell her later. If she doesn't answer you, why dragging her on the chest?
Thank you, Lizzie.
The poor student was.
Oh, sorry. Apologies. We need to run. Taiwo, please, what is the way forward? Should this girl sue the school? Because now she's lost, 3 years. She just, I believe she might be running a 4-year course and, you know, she just has one more year to go. What is the way forward? How do we move forward with this? Because I don't think an expulsion, I mean, I would have really avoided that fight if I were her. But hey, we're here where we are now. What's the way forward?
Well, number one, I must commend you for discussing the other side of this story. I must commend you. Means you are different. You are not in this for the clicks and the rest of that. You are in this. And I'm not surprised that you are doing this. I know you are genuinely committed. We have had conversations beyond being on TV. So I must commend you for taking this on. Number two is the fact that what has happened is a reflection of our society. This domineering culture that once somebody is a young person, being young means being stupid. Being young means that you don't have a view, you don't have a life, you are just a young person and we can tread roughshod on your right. And it is this whole idea of refusing to embrace the culture of discipline, and we keep talking about child discipline. Our young people need to be responsible. That needs to be addressed. Number three, I think that somebody has offered that girl a scholarship outside Nigeria. I don't know how far that is going, but that does not change the fact that she has put in 3 years in Unizik. Right now, I am going to be speaking to a couple of people on this matter. What can we do if the young lady is ready to fight for her right? Can we convince her, not even convincing her, can we let her see what her rights are in this matter and to see if she's ready to pick up the gauntlet and fight for her rights? If she's ready to do that, we give her all the support that she needs to be able to demand for her rights, within the space of the university, and even asking for damages and all of that, whatever it is. I think that somebody needs to put his or her feet on the ground and fight this injustice. This is what our young people go through
all
in the university.
Absolutely.
This conversation needs to be revisited.
Absolutely. Let me take Taiwo. I believe he's calling us from Lagos. Thank you for calling. Good evening. Go ahead, please.
Okay, good evening. So my name is Engineer Taiwo from Lagos. Yeah, so what I want to say is that the lecturer, when you look at the video very well,
you need to keep talking. Stop listening to yourself. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so what I was saying is that as a man, we all watch football, and in many cases, there are things that happen in football that you have to watch this video over and over again to be able to ascertain what actually transpired. So, hello?
Okay, we'll have to let you go, Taiwo, because the time is running. But Taiwo, I mean, I think I hear what he's trying to say. Go back to the forensics, Go back to the forensics and all of that. Someone says he was in the wrong to touch her. Her reaction was very aggressive. She needs to avoid such reactions, because if she was in the street and the other person was ignorant, we could be seeing a criminal case. Okay. I believe, see, what that caller, the first caller said, like, if it was a different setting, maybe he would not have touched her. He would have just said, excuse me. I think it is the mindset, and I like where your direction of thought was going, how we make children feel like they're subservient because they are children. Please go ahead and help me wrap up that thought.
Well, so what I'm saying is that I've continued to say, the last time I was in studio physically in Lagos, I was saying that we have to de-emphasize this thing we call child discipline. We must embrace the culture of discipline, because our children are either beneficiaries or casualties of our example. It is the same thing that is still reigning now. So you can find those who fight for women, the right of women. You can see those who fight against domestic violence. They are not able to see the oppression perpetrated, on that video that we saw, allegedly perpetrated by the lecturer, shoving that girl aside. So they are not able to see it, because in their commitment to women, right, higher commitment is to a culture that put young people down. So if she was a grown woman that was done to, in a workplace, a boss has shoved a staff aside, those who fight for violence against women, you will see them in the forefront. But because this one is a young person deserves to be shoved aside, so deserves to be oppressed, you won't find those in the forefront of women's rights, youth rights, speaking to this. That is how endemic these things are. And so we need to continue to take another look. We need to insist, as I've said, I am going to see what we can do on our own side to reach out.
We have to
and
try.
See the possibility.
Yeah.
And
we have to try because things have to change.
Because
Taiwo,
again,
there's something quickly I wanted to touch on. Right? See, Akpabio, what is going on in the Senate, right? Because this is the mindset I think a lot of times that we ignore. It starts from the lecturer student, it then goes on to where a woman in her right, is being shut down because, it seems like, you are a lesser gender. It's something tricky. Somebody says Akpabio is the worst Senate president we've seen in recent years. He's so authoritative, dictatorial. He forgets that Nigeria is a democratic nation and everyone there is an elected senator, elected by constituents. He's just been chosen by his colleague to lead them. That's all. You can't be denying their rights and privileges because you are chosen to lead. That's travesty. Akpabio couldn't grant her Order 15 of the Senate Standing Rules, which gives her the privilege to speak without notice or approval. Bob Kennedy from Jalingo, Taraba State. Now, this is, playing out at a higher level. So if we do not nip this idea that some people are subservient to us, start to see everybody as humans, and they deserve the same respect and rights, then it will trickle down and it will permeate every level. So when we talk about these things, it's not because we want to just be propagating women agenda or something. No. Because there has to be clear terms to say these are the consequences of, if we don't nip these kinds of behaviors on the board, this is where it would eventually lead to. But thank you so much, Taiwo Akinlami. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. We were having so much fun. I thought we would have enough time to discuss, but please, I will follow up with you. I want to know how we can even try to see if she can find some level of justice. Intelligence plus character, that is the true goal of education. And that was our quote for today. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, lives a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.